I built an automation that reads my journal and sends me a message every morning with a summary of all the things I've been doing, and it gives me action steps to help me achieve my goals. Again, it's all based on my journal. All my journal entries, it's reading them so it can give me an actual informed opinion and good advice based on everything it knows about me. So if you're a person like me who writes a lot in his journal but doesn't actually go back to read it, this is a very useful automation. And the cool part is that this is an example of AI being proactive. Instead of you having to reach out to the AI every time and ask it for advice, in this case, we're having AI reach out to us and give us advice on things that we may not have even realized we needed help with. Okay, so I'm going to show you a quick demo of this. The messaging part, I'm going to be using Telegram. So I've got the application open on my computer here, and it's going to be coming from this bot that I made called Assistant. So we're going to just run this automation in N8N. So here it's retrieving the pages from my database, from my journal in Notion. Now it's messaging the AI, and here you see we just got a message, and it is a summary of all the things I've been doing based on my journal entries, and it's broken down into categories. This is all part of the prompt. I've asked it to break things down into categories and give me advice on each of the aspects of my life. So you can see it's given me a really good response, and it was very easy to set this up. So now I'll go into more detail on how exactly this automation works. And it starts out with this trigger node here. And I've set it up so that it runs every morning at 6 a.m. And then we go into the Notion database. We use this node called get many database pages. And all I'm doing here is retrieving the last 7 entries in my journal database. And you can see here on the right, we've got all these entries. You can see the dates because in my journal, my database journal, I just title the entries as the current date. So this is a really simple database where I keep all my journal entries. I just make a new entry every single day, give it the title of the current date, and then I write in that page. So once we've got all our pages retrieved, the thing about Notion is that it's not actually very easy to retrieve the content of the page. So we have to add in this extra node here to retrieve all the child blocks. So a block is just a piece of content in a Notion page. So we're gonna have to actually retrieve all those little blocks, which you can think of them like paragraphs, and then we have to join them all together into one big text. So that's what I've done here in this code node. And if you don't know how to code, you can just ask ChatGPT to write these code modules for you. But in this case, it's a very simple piece of code because all we're doing is iterating through all the blocks that came from the previous node and just putting them into one big text. And then that text, we feed it into OpenAI. And I've got this prompt here, which says, you will read my journal entries for the last few days, summarize what I've been doing and what my objectives are, give me guidance on what I should work on today to help me achieve my goals, write your suggestions as bullet points, and separate them into categories. So I've put that as the system prompt so that the AI knows that this is how it's supposed to behave. And then I actually pass in the data through the user prompt. So it's very simple in N8N. You basically just drag in the input from the previous node and you drop it here into the prompt. So once we get the AI to return that data to us, sometimes the message is very long. So I've added another code module to break it into chunks so that it fits within the maximum limits of Telegram's messaging feature. And then finally, we have the send message to Telegram, and that's all there is to it. So this is a very basic automation that I've built, but you can actually add a few more things to this if you want to get creative. For example, I was thinking of doing, instead of a daily automation, a daily message, what if you had it actually read the contents of your journal and analyze to see if you've been having a good day or a bad day. And if it determines that the sentiment is negative on a bad day, then in that case, send a message. So in N8N, the way you would do that would just be to maybe add in an OpenAI node to do a sentiment analysis and then just add an if statement in here. And you can say, well, if the sentiment is good, do this. If the sentiment is bad, do this. So that's an example of how you could expand on this really simple automation we've made. But yeah, it goes to show all the possibilities that we have with N8N. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.